Joe Biden should have given up the Ukrainian portfolio, or Hunter Biden should be taken off the board because they ruined America's ability to effectively deal with corruption in the Ukraine by having Hunter Biden on the board of Burisma. That's just a fact, and we're going to get to the bottom of it.
I mean, you even have John Kerry's stepson writing a note to John Kerry's aide saying,
yes,
I don't like what's going on. We have this email here that we're going to show. And he even said, I don't want to be anywhere near this Burisma situation. We are not investing here as Hunter Biden was.
Well, those three people on that email are the first witnesses. Did the chief of staff, once notified, did he go to John Kerry and say, hey, Joe Biden's got a problem? Can you imagine what would be happening today if this were a Republican vice president whose son received $3 million from the most corrupt gas company in the Ukraine tied to Russia? It'd be front page news all over the world. We're not going to let it go, Jim Risch. You need to start it. When it comes to FISA, I'm going to call Rosenstein, Sally Yates, McCabe, and Comey to find out how a warrant was issued against Carter Page on 4 different occasions without an adequate foundation, and find out how the Department of Justice and the FBI became so out of bounds when it came to Trump.
Lindsey Graham doesn't stop there. Now he's continuing going after the current deep state. You know, Shifty Adam, the Whistler, and that whole bunch.
Well, what about Adam Schiff, Senator? I mean, Adam Schiff, we know, has been lying or fabricating things for at least 3 years. He told us collusion was in plain sight between President Trump and the Russians. He told us he didn't know who the whistleblower was. He read a parody, that he called it, which was not even the contents of the phone call between the president and the Ukraine leader. I mean, he's saying all of this stuff, and he's not under oath. Will you put him under oath?
The House Intel Committee, the Senate Intel Committee under Richard Burr has told us that we will call the whistleblower. We will call the whistleblower. Why is it important? I want to find out how all this crap started. If the whistleblower is a former employee, associate of Joe Biden, I think that would be important. If the whistleblower was working with people on Schiff's staff that wanted to take Trump down a year and a half ago, I think that would be important. If the Schiff staff people helped write the complaint, that would be important. We're going to get to the bottom of all of this to make sure this never happens again. Intel, Senate Intel will deal with the whistleblower. Foreign Relations Committee will deal with Joe Biden's conflict of interest. The Judiciary Committee will deal with all things FISA. And let me tell Republicans out there, you should expect us to do this. If we don't do it, we're letting you down. And I guarantee you, if it were if the shoe were on the other foot, Democrats would be eating us alive if Republicans had done any of these things.
I can tell you for sure you will be letting down my viewers. They want accountability. For 3 years, this country has been in hysterics over collusion that never existed, and now this Ukraine situation. We'll be watching, Senator.
I mean, this is just not acceptable. We just had the trial of the century, of which he's going to be acquitted. It's already been acquitted, but the formality will take place this week. But he's focused on the crime of the century. The crime of the century is this kind of soft coup that is trying to blunt his presidency and remove him from office. And what President Trump has said from the beginning, this is not about him. This is about the office of the presidency. Trump has been adamant. This can never happen again to any president, whether it's a progressive Democrat or another populist nationalist. You cannot have this happen. Lindsey Graham, and I have tremendous respect for him, he guaranteed at the Senate Judiciary Committee, we need to have the whistleblower. We need to have the number 2 whistleblower. We need to have Adam Schiff as a fact witness. We need Hunter and Joe Biden. I think we need Brennan. We need all of them. And here's the other thing we ought to do. President Trump ought to declassify all these reports. He ought to go back to Rosenstein's, the 40 subpoenas that the House under Devin Nunes forwarded to Rosenstein. He ought to get all of those. He ought to get all of those subpoenas, and all those people ought to be called to witness. We need an apparatus that's official to go about this to protect the office of the presidency going forward. Trump's right. It is the crime of the century. There was attempted coup here. That's what has to come out, and you shouldn't have to depend upon conservative media to do that. The media, let's use the official apparatus of what the frame is set up. Let's have the Senate Judiciary Committee, and we need to bring the whistleblower. We need to bring Adam Schiff as a fact witness. We need the second whistleblower. Yeah. We need the entire apparatus. We need their phone records, their text messages, and we need to have them up there addressing the American people.